Welcome back to the Bernard Lee Poker Show. We are so honored to have the 2021 Poker Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Eli Elezra, a very good friend of the show. We've had him on pretty much since the beginning of the show, back in the days when we were actually live on the radio, back in the days where there wasn't such a thing as a podcast, by the way. And you are listening here on the Bernard Lee Poker Show. And it's incredible. Over these 15 years, we have gone with the times. We are still on the radio here in the Boston area. If you are listening, we are obviously on our podcast, and you can also find me on my YouTube page, Bernard Lee Poker, where all of my interviews are also put up there on video if you'd like to watch it there. We are very fortunate to have this gentleman, four-time bracelet winner, Poker Hall of Famer. You have won your bracelets, obviously in different games. One of the games, not the no limit version, it's the triple draw version of deuce to seven. You won it in 7-card stud, high, low. You've also won 2 bracelets in 7-card stud. You are also extremely proficient in all of the mixed games. What do you feel is, well, I don't know, best? What's your favorite? Maybe let's ask that way. What's your favorite mixed game?
It's very close between the Omaha version to the triple draw version. And I love the triple draw deuce and I like the no limit deuce. And there is no mixed game that you won't see the PLO or the big O or the Omaha, the better limit game, and the no limit deuce and the deuce. Now we play the deuce to 7 Raz also, which is a stud version.
Yeah.
I mean, they all know that there's no mixed game also without my stud game. So,
right.
I mean, I have more imagination than anybody in stud.
Yeah.
I think I have more picture memory for the cards that coming outside, and that's what getting my game better. And one of my famous quote now on the table is, "I love stud, stud loves me back." So I've been winning a lot in stud games, and Jeff Platt interviewed me 3 weeks before the 2018 or 19, when I won my last stud bracelet. And he said, "Well, when and what you gonna win next?" And I said, "I'm gonna win this year, the stud event." And 3 weeks later, I won it. So he came and interviewed me again. Robbie remember it because Robbie was right there. He's brought me to, when we did my book signing.
Right.
So, I mean, mixed game is part of me now, because when you sit down and play with, like what we just talked about with the young generation and playing only no limit, first of all, you have to have patience. You sit down in a game of 8-handed or 9-handed sometime, all of them, not 90%, all of them are with headphone and on the phone all the time.
Right.
And there is no communication.
Right.
Nobody talked to that. Right. So you film this one and you go and film our game and you see completely different world. We laughing, even you losing and having fun and telling stories. So that's why on live day-to-day playing, I love my mixed game. Once in a while, I'll jump in, not only tournament, I'll play the no limit, but that's why, I'm talking about the Poker Go, and I have to give credit. We give credit to everybody. Cary Katz, this man put his own money.
Yeah.
He lose a lot of money at the beginning. Yeah. For me to go through the YouTube TV, and boom, I get to poker, and I see myself now. And you get the shows all the way from the high stakes. The first ever interview with you was next to my 8-gallon aquarium in my house. I remember it like yesterday, and you asked me about the Lakers owner.
Yeah, Jerry Buss, that's right. Yeah,
Jerry Buss. I
wow,
remember
you have a great
you
memory.
asked me.
Yeah.
You asked me about him. You said, "Well, so you see him in the show, and you saw the show of the day. And what do you think?" And and back then people tried to ask me to say that he was the whale, or he was the
the fish.
And I never wanted to mention any fish in a game because it's not good for business,
Right.
But so my new, I jump from one subject to another, but my new way of looking on the no limit those days is I know I'm a dog. Put me next to all those guys, the new guys that we just mentioned, all the high roller guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they do stuff that I don't know if they enter it or they run it 1,000 times to see what hand to play, whatever. I won't tell you that I'm like a TJ, old school, that it's raise, re-raise, all in. You know, we don't have I still have my 3 or 4 bets on me, but they solve the game. When I say solve it, even though Daniel Negreanu said several times in his podcast and in his blog, every day I learn something new about the no limit. And I think that we're going to learn it for the rest of our life. But some of those guys I see, by the way, I watch all shows. I love watching poker because I know sooner or later I'm going to face them. So I'm trying to try to remember some stuff. But stuff that those guys doing, I hate the stalling. So now me and I'm sure you and Matt Savage are the biggest, with the shot clock. Shot clock is the best thing that ever happened
100%.
to poker. 100%. And I started with a championship, the W2 championship event, and I just loved it. By the way, I never use any of mine. I mean, just showing you that either you have it or you don't have it. I know it's part of strategy, but I cannot take seeing somebody counting his head is what Chris Ferguson teach everybody. Counting your head for 20 before you folding the 10-3 offsuit. I can't take it.
Right.
And you know what? Sitting with Doyle every night, you know, I'm still playing with a man 88 years old.
Crazy.
God let me be 88 and still play poker.
That's right.
I'm telling you.
Right.
I love Doyle.
And still playing with him incredibly. Not just playing, but still playing incredibly.
Him and Billy Baxter, I heard also very good. I play with him once. Just amazing. And Doyle said to me, I would say 10, 15 years ago, he said, I'm not playing those tournaments because those things. I just cannot stand sitting there and everybody, and before the shot clock, sometimes people took 2-3 minutes to make decision. So you cannot play no limit event. Of course, we saw him this year, and it was so good to see him on Poker Go on the ESPN when he was there. But I mean, it's beautiful to see that everybody can watch poker now, all the way from the eye roller to the old ice stakes to the old World Series of Poker to the new poker, poker after dark. Whatever Maury doing to poker and Cary Katz is amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I think that's a great comment about Cary Katz. It really is. You know, you're talking about Ishai Scheinberg with Poker Stars, Cary Katz really, it's amazing what Poker Go has started to do. And it'll take probably a little time for Poker Go to continue to rise what it is. And then Cary will become, hey, he started this. And it's definitely a name.
I'm a businessman. Really, I know they cannot get all this money back. It'll take him time to earn the $10 a month, you know. So hard.
But he definitely has made. That's a really, really good point. You have said that the Poker Players Championship, that is an event. Is that the bracelet that if you had to win one more bracelet, is that the one that you'd love?
It's not even close. Because mixed game, I told you the mixed game, we got the no limit there. We got the PLO there. So now when you sit down with top player of the world, and, you know, sometimes he said, oh, you should go to this tournament, you know, like Chainsaw always said, oh, this is so much dead money, or they didn't meet the cap, so now you should go and play all those events. I want to play with the best of them. I'm not looking for event, go to Seidel and play event that is only juicy player playing and it's good to try to win. When I play, I want to play with the best of them. I want to beat the best of them. I'll be honest with you, there's 2 people in my life that intimidate me in my game. One was Stu. I play with Stu, I would say 20 times, and only tournament, by the way. I never see a guy taking control at the table the way he took.
Yeah.
And he raised 75% of the time, and then he always have control on it. And I didn't know, you never know where is he at. And the second one was Phil Ivey. You know, I'm telling everybody, when I play Phil Ivey, all the games, he was also, you know, Guy invite me and Gus Hanson and Phil Ivey and few of French people to the MGM who play in his suite in a private, one of his private game. And I remember Phil won like $2-3 million in there. And it just, you can see when Phil have it, you know, he can feel the players. I won't tell you the game. He can feel the players. He knows when to push all in when he have nothing. He knows what to do. So those two people. But now take the rest of them. Anybody I play with, you first of all, as a beginner, if people, some of the beginner poker listen, some of your audience, never go to a game feel like you're a dog. Just go always in and try to feel like, yes, I'm going to win it. Of course, I will go back to you, some of your audience, and I'm sure people go over and over, say it. Don't ever play over, you know, mistake that I made. I don't know if you made. Don't ever play over your bankroll limit. Right. Do not leave your day job before you to become a professional before you know for a fact that you don't play more than 5 or 10% of your bankroll, because we all been there. We all been broke before. We all have been without cash, and it's very hard to sit home and won't be able to empty. I mean, I tell you what, I did it several times, and I did it several times for a couple of months. I mean, nobody is untouchable on it, because one day you can look like a donkey because you lose, and you said, how can I, you know, lose so much? And the next day, nobody can beat me in the world. I'm the best player in the world. And those things is over the year, every player I play against, from Doyle to Barry to Phil to Jason to the new ones, I always try to see what they show, how they behave in the table, and try to take the best things from them. And for me, complete player today is Daniel Negreanu. He's just, it's unbelievable that he deal like, what is his name? You just mentioned him, Erik Seidel. He deal with the new generation as good as he can, because he's showing he's not old school, and he's definitely one of the old school, the best old school with all those bracelets and stuff. So it's good to watch good player how they're playing, and try to pick the best tricks from them.
No, absolutely. And like you said, like watching, so it is so impressive. Erik Seidel, it's a name. He's so, you know, he's not out there in the public, very to himself, but like you said, look at the results. Like, he just gets it done all the time. Daniel too. I mean, I think Daniel just has such an incredible mix of not only one of the best players in the world, but also just him being so open with the public, and really just courteous. I mean, he's amazing when it comes to his fans. It really is. I've been very fortunate.
Oh, amazing. I mean,
just amazing.
He's the best example I give. Daniel, Gus Hanson, I would never tell you it's I would never tell you Phil Ivey, because Phil and Doyle are people coming and they running away. They don't give signals. And you know, but Gus is going out and hugging. Daniel is doing what he does good.
Right.
It's good for us. It's very important to do it, and I do it all the time. You know, I mean, I think it's I'm not a superstar, but they stopped me and they recognized me from 25 years ago from the poker, you know, Ice Takes Poker and stuff. And I said, wow, this is probably one of the best shows we ever watched, you know.
Right.
Maury told me this year, you know, I missed it. I went to visit my dad in Israel. He's a little hill. So he told me that I missed one of the best show that, you know, the high stakes, the very last one, the one with Phil Ivey and Tom Duan and stuff. I was invited, but I couldn't do it. So I'll be in the next one though.
What, you know, I wanted to ask you, so high stakes is really kind of where you were introduced to the world, right? I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, who is this person? Like, I've never heard this person before. And then you watch your playing and you see you over and over again. To you, what was that moment? Like, you know, there must have been a moment the first time where somebody came up to you and was like, hey, you're Eli Elezra. And you're like, how do you know me? You know, that kind of, what was that transition like, you know?
I tell you what, Maury walked into our game, and Maury knows everybody. And he asked Chip and Doyle, guys, I want to film this game. And we all look at, if you remember, it was Game Show Network. He told us it's Game Show Network, they make a deal. And the question that Chip asked him right away, can we do whatever we do? He said, I want this game to be exactly the same. You do whatever you want. Of course, he didn't stand more. He did not stand in his word, because the first year they let us play the props, if you remember.
Yeah.
So we play prop, we have the paper we write down. But then people start getting confused when you say, oh, I see it. And then we write it down. So the mom and pops keep asking, what are they talking about? And Gabe Kaplan tried to explain it to the audience. So after the second year, he asked us not to do the props on the show. But coming into this show, it was exactly like what he said. Not only we got paid, by them to play, we got paid. We got like $20,000 for every session, but it was good shows. People to this day thinking, oh, you didn't play your own money. They give you money and you play. People don't understand it was our own money, and it was bloody, and it was fun, and we laugh and we have our time. I mean, Doyle was one of the best on those shows. He had like 19 wins in a row,
Wow.
But when the show aired, me personally, I always, Semi Faha was one of my competitors. So I remember going to the TV and try to see 3 months later, what do I pick? And I pick up some stuff. I pick up some tell on Semi, which helped me in the future, but I couldn't pick up anything on Tom Dwan. Tom Dwan, Doyle was for me the biggest. I mean, me and Doyle was sitting and talking about him, trying to think how he think and what he do. Nothing. That was the first generation that show us, oh, there's people out there, there's some kids out there that we are yum for them, the old school. So, I mean, I was watching the film and coming back to it, but 2 years later, within a year or whatever, all of a sudden you get people and ask me, I'm not Matt Damon. Come and ask me for signature and come ask me for this. I'm only a regular poker player, a loser poker player back then, But it was funny that I did like 6 years in a row the high stake. The 7th one I didn't do because Isha decided the full tilt people don't do that. And Isha is Israeli too. So I actually had I have a contact with him I flew to see him in one of those WPT, no PT, the EPT. That he owned in the Poker Star in Monte Carlo. And because of him, I got a very good contract with Full Tilt, because I came back and Howard and they wanted to keep me. But I mean, I think that all what they did for those shows between Maury and Isha and Howard, and that's got poker boom, up to the sky. And then we had the Moneymaker, he's the one that started the whole thing. And so good to see him back, on TV and showing that he's still around there. I'm sure you have Moneymaker on the show. No, did you?
Many times.
No?
He is literally the person we've had on the most. Yeah, he's definitely
he's fun.
He's great.
Fun,
He really is. We interviewed him once. We were at an event. I even forgot what tournament it was. It wasn't the World Series. We were at another tournament, and he said, "Hey, come on up. I'm going to be playing some online, and I'm just going to have some beers. Why don't you come up to the room?" And so we just started talking, and et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I was like, "Can we do this as a radio show? Like, let's just talk and just let the people know what we're just talking about." He's like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." And so the whole show was just us chatting, and while he's playing online,
that's nice.
and he's winning, and he's like, I think I have to do this radio show more. And it was just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. And he's always like that. So, talking about autographs and talking about it, I definitely want to help and talk about this. We talked about this before in your show. For people who are watching on YouTube, you can see this. Pulling the Trigger, to autobiography of Eli Elezra. I was fortunate that Eli has given me a copy. And what we are going to do is I have an extra copy of this. We are going to be giving away this on the show. I will put it up on Twitter. You retweet and follow, and one lucky person will get a copy of this excellent book. Our guest, Robbie Straczynski, translated it as well. So you will get a copy of it. How proud of you are you of the book, Eli?
It's amazing. Why would I ever write a book about my life? But when Matan Krakow, I play in one of those. I never play in Israel. I went to play in Israel, and Matan was there because I went to play with some soldiers that go into the army. And he said, on the way back, he gave us a ride to Jerusalem, and he said, "Why don't we write a book?" And it started by just asking him, and I didn't even, and my brother-in-law immediately said, yeah, why don't you do it? Anyway, it's been 20 years since you start playing and everybody knows you. And within a couple of months, Matan came to Vegas and he started recording me. And of course, we did the first one in Hebrew. We call it Agadat Poker. It's like poker legend in Hebrew. And of course, I'm not Doyle Brunson, the legend, but so we start there. And then, I mean, when I met Robbie, and me and Robbie talked about him translate the book, I couldn't pick up anybody better. A guy that loved the poker like me,
right?
A guy that live in Israel, an American, born in America, speak both languages. It was so good for me. And his wife, Miriam, helped him on some of those indirect translation. And not only that, me and Robbie are such good friends now, you know. I call him my marketing man, you know, because I'm not following what, but he's always helping me on anything, and he loves your show. Okay, Robbie gonna be out there for a while, because
I think Robbie's really kind of like, I sound like an old fart right now. Like, I think that Robbie is like kind of like that next group, right? That really is loving poker and trying to keep that tradition of what Mike Sexton used to say about me as a kind of combining and bridging that gap of the old to the new. I didn't play with the old, but I definitely knew a lot of the old players. I've talked with them and done the history part and bringing it to this generation. I think Robbie's that next person, you know, like he's of that generation of the next person. And of course, we've had Robbie on the show. Our show is on cardplayerlifestyle.com as well. So he's done a really good job. I agree with you. What's the future? You did it. You did the Poker Hall of Fame. What's the future? Yeah, that's why there's a long future ahead of you.
And I said it on when they interviewed me to WSOP on one of those when they asked me, and I said, I'm gonna be here when I'm 88, 90, trying to win bracelet. So if I'll be healthy enough, yes, I just love it. You know, keep our mind moving all the time. That's what's gonna keep us healthy. I'm doing good stuff. I'm doing some sport. I'm swimming, and I mean, when I do that, I can see I'm winning. So why not? I'm going to keep doing it.
Right.
And you or anybody from your show that come to Vegas, look me up. I'll be very happy to either sign your book for you or say hi and take a picture with you. I'm always in Bobby's room. Now it's a legend room, or Ivey's room. Now it's table number 1, or any place I'll be. I'm going to keep playing poker 5-6 days a week for the rest of my life.
That's awesome. Well, what games when you're there? Is it primarily mixed games, or is it like it's primarily
only mixed game?
All mixed.
Only mixed game.
What are the limits that you guys usually play?
Right now, you know, I used to play the 3 and 6 and 4 and 8,000.
Right.
No more. I'm enjoying myself with the 2 and 4 and 3 and 600. That you can win and lose a night 15, 20, 30,000. It's not as bad as the old days. The old days was literally bloodbath, you know. When you can win and lose 2 or 3, 400,000, nobody can stand it. Only Bill Gates or whoever, you know. So those days, exactly. All those days we're enjoying, everybody, including Doyle, playing the 3 and 600. We're having fun. We're eating at a table, and I'll play no limit once in a while, mostly the tournament, but if I have to, but I prefer to play the mixed game because the fun of it.
Right. Well, Eli, it's always fun. It's always fun talking with you. The fortunate thing is the World Series of Poker is right around the corner. It was in October last time, and now it's back in May. So it's a much condensed time. So we'll see each other very soon, but always a pleasure. Thanks so much. Congratulations on your well-deserved Hall of Fame induction.
I hope to be in a Bernard Lee poker show every time I win bracelet. So at least 5 more times.
I was going to say, how many more times then? Fantastic. Great.
Thanks, Bernard.
Thanks so much, Eli. Really appreciate it. Eli Elezra here, 2021 Poker Hall of Fame induction, and also 4-time bracelet winner. And of course, remember, as I mentioned, pulling the trigger. Follow me on Twitter, Bernard Lee Poker, and retweet the tweet I will send out. You will have a chance to win a copy of his book. And as always, may you always go in with the best hand, and may you never get unlucky. Good night, everybody.